Okay, so this is going to be the video for packet 6. This video is just for area and volume. There'll be another video for particle motion. And so the first problem we're going to do is number 5 in your packet. And so we have this y equals x cubed minus 8x squared plus 18x minus 5, and then y equals x plus 5. So the first thing you obviously want to do is graph them, okay? Okay, so I already have these graphed here, and just put them into the y equals, and if you notice, the part between the curves here is there are two separate pieces. So we need to kind of sketch a little graph here to answer this question. This is a little bit harder than some of the other ones. And then we also need to find those intersections. That's why I wanted to put this one in the video. So we need to go to F5 intersection. Okay, and the whole first curve, second curve, you can just enter, and then second curve, enter through that. Now lower bound means to the left of that point, so I'm going to press enter. And then upper bound means I got to scooch all the way to the right of whichever intersection you're looking for, and you can only do one at a time. And so we're going to get 1 here. Now I'm going to skip the process. You're going to get 2 and 5 here, but you just repeat it to get those things. So if we make a quick sketch, this really is just to help us figure out like how to do the problem. Okay, what we're looking for is this section and this section. Okay, where if you think about it, y1 and y2, just to kind of help label, the curve is y1 and the line is y2. All right, and so these 3 intersections you needed to find. Okay, they end up being 1, 2, and 5. Like I said, you're gonna want to use your calculator and go back through and do that. So if I just find this intersection right here, I'm going to integrate with the cubic on top. And then minus, notice the parentheses here, the line. And then the limits of integration, the bounds are going to be 1 to 2. Okay, that's just one part of it, so we have to do the other part as well. Okay, so we have to integrate from 2 to 5, and then we have to switch them around. If you try to do this all at once, you're going to come across some problems. Now remember that each of these individually should be positive, and the answer as a whole should be positive as well. Okay? Okay, so I've shown you here kind of what it looks like for that first integral to plug that in. We have the x cubed minus 8x squared plus 18x minus 5 minus parenthesis x plus 5. And what you want to do next is comma x, comma the smaller number, comma the bigger number. If you remember it like that, you won't go wrong. Okay? Now if you get a negative answer, you did something wrong. Now I got an error, and so let's look to see where I got an error, because this is going to happen to you. Okay, so I'm going to have to look pretty hard for this error. I'm going to pause while I do. Alright, so this is going to happen to you. I wish I could say this is on purpose, but it actually wasn't, but this is great. Notice that the thing went right here. See how I have a caret and then a minus? That shouldn't be there. I will tell you, if you can't find your error though, sometimes you're just going to need to retype the whole thing in. Alright, and keep in mind you should get a positive number. Now that's only for the first integral, so you're going to have to go in and kind of rearrange the order for the second integral. Alright, and you're going to get that answer. Okay, and in the end they want a decimal answer, and it should be about 11.833. So we did this first one, you got to do the second one, you add it together, make sure you get this decimal, which is choice B. Okay. The next problem we're going to do is a free response. And so flip to number 8. And on number 8, it's a calculator problem, which are the ones that I really want to work on. And we first have to graph y equals 20 over 1 plus x squared. And keep in mind, everywhere in your calculator, this is going to need to be in parentheses, so I'm just going to write it that way now. And then y equals 2. So the first thing we need to do is graph that. All right, and you get a calculator. Hopefully you know at least what one of these looks like or have an idea. Okay, so just like I was saying, when you type it in, you're going to want to make sure to put in 20 divided by 1 plus x squared. All right. Okay, make sure it gets in there. And it puts it in pretty print so you can kind of tell. Now, if you just do like a zoom 6 here, you're not going to get a very good picture of what this looks like. The year this was on the test, students thought that was a vertical asymptote. Okay, and so what they found was the area down here, but it's not. If we go up just a little bit, and so if we go to the window and we make our Y max a little bit bigger than 20, and we graph it, then you can see that there is a top to this. And knowing your parent functions here could definitely help you. Okay, so we have this y equals 2 here. Here's your x, here's your y, and then you have this thing that goes up and down like this. All right, and so what we're looking for is that area right there. So we have to find these intersections. So in your calculator, you got to go through and do the F5, choice 5, and then the inner is fine, but for the third inner, if you're, say, you're looking for this intersection over here, be to the left of it. When it says upper, be to the right of it. Upper and lower means really left and right. Okay, so that's x equals 3. And you can use symmetry of the graph or find the intersection over here to find this one. So to do part A, which is just to find the area, we're going to go -3 to 3, the top, which is 20 over 1 plus x squared, minus the bottom. So we go back to the home screen. Okay, so when you're typing in this integral, you're going to go in to F3, and then again, you need to make sure, whoops, didn't mean to do that. You need to make sure that you do 20 divided by parenthesis 1 plus x squared. All right, and then minus 2, comma x, comma lower bound, comma upper bound. You should get a positive answer. If you didn't, you messed something up. Now, this is a really weird answer. This would be totally acceptable, but if you want a decimal, you got to go diamond enter. Okay, I didn't hit the diamond hard enough. There we go. And it usually takes a second, and then you'll get your decimal. Make sure you round to 3 decimal places. So this one would be 37.962. All right, now to do part B, it's asking us to find the volume when this thing is rotated around the x-axis. So this is a washer. This is the why I wanted to do this one. So we have a washer, which is pi big R squared minus little r squared. This is still with respect to x, which most of the problems on the AP test are going to be. And so you got to figure out, okay, big R is going to be from the line of rotation through the shaded part. That's big R. Little r is going to be from the line of rotation to the inside part, and that's little r. So in this problem, big R is that curve minus 0, because the line of rotation is at 0, and little r is going to be from the line y equals 2 minus 0. So we have the pi. This all stays the same. You don't need the minus zeros. I'm going to go ahead and drop those just for ease of typing in purposes. You're not squaring the whole thing. You're just squaring each individual piece. Okay, so I want to show you how you can not have to retype everything in here. Okay, let me wake my calculator up here. Okay, here we go. Just fell asleep. Okay, so I'm going to do pi, and then I'm going to go up and I'm going to grab that integral, and then if I press enter, it'll copy and paste it right down here. Okay, now I want these things to be squared. So I need to put squared there. If you want to put parentheses around that too, you can. I do need to add in extra parentheses here. squared, and then an extra 1 in front of that 20 to make sure that's squared. Now if you get an error, it's a parenthesis. You got to go back through, and again we got a weird answer. If you want to hit diamond enter, you can. The weird answer is also acceptable. If you're getting really caught up with parentheses, just keep in mind that your calculator is putting one here and here, okay, where the dx is like a comma x. Don't write the comma x. Don't write calculator notation on the AP test. They don't like that. But you could put in extra parentheses. There we go. Okay, so you get that number. 1871.19. You can put the O, just as long as it's accurate to 3, you're good. Okay. Let's do the last part. Part C. Which says we have this 3D figure and we have a... Okay, so this is talking basically kind of like rectangles. It doesn't say rectangles, but it does say that we have the surface, which is the pond, and then we have the depth of the water, which would be like a height of 3 minus x. So this is kind of the harder part of this. Oh, I just skipped to the wrong section. Y'all forgive me. It's early. Okay, this correct part C, hope you have a laugh about this, is about sections perpendicular to x-axis, so with respect to x, that are semicircles. So pi over 8s squared. Now, we already did this up here. Okay, cross sections are just kind of like a take on that. The pi over 8 for semicircles, negative 3 to 3, and then this thing needs to be squared. So not each individual piece like in part B, but this whole thing. And keep in mind, again, your calculator is going to want to put in those parentheses. Okay, so I'm going to pause and then just show you really quick what that will look like. Okay, so this is what it should look like when you type it in. To the end. Go back and rewatch that if you need to. And again, we get a weird answer. If you knew you wanted a decimal, either answer is fine. Do the diamond enter. And it'll take a second, and then you'll get 174.268. Let's confirm it with our calculator. Don't get freaked out if it takes long. Notice mine is taking long. Okay, so there'll be another video for the second half of this packet.